Right, so we might be seeing the end of days, the last run in a legendary career from one of the UFC's most successful fighters of all time and one of the best middleweight champions, the second best middleweight champion that the sport has ever seen. I am, of course, talking about the Last Stylebender, the one and only Israel Adesanya.
I'm on the tail end. I can see the finish line.
A man that had a glittering kickboxing career comes over to the UFC, marks his territory, quite literally when he cocked his leg walking into the octagon, and then took the sport by storm. He became the interim champion when he took on Kelvin Gastelum in one of the best fights of the year. He unified the belts when he took on Robert Whittaker, knocked him out at the end of the first round, and then finished the job at the start of the second to unify the belts and become the undisputed middleweight champion. And then the man went off and defended the belt 5 times in a row. Also stepped up to another weight class, tried to become a 2-weight division champion like Conor McGregor when he went up against Jan Blachowicz. That was the first loss. He got taken down. He got held down. He lost a decision. And since then, right, after a legendary run, and by the way, we can't just gloss over the fact that 5 wins in record time. The strength of schedule from Israel Adesanya was ridiculous. And then he takes on his old friend, Alex Pereira. Goes up against Pereira, and what happens? The man gets stopped in the 5th round. It was a barrage of punches from Alex Pereira. Poatan came over, became the middleweight champion of the world. What did Izzy do? He came right back just a few months later. Didn't take a tune-up fight. Didn't take an easy gimme fight. Didn't try and restore the confidence by knocking out a couple of bums. Stepped right back in there in Miami against Alex Pereira and knocked him out cold in the 2nd round. That always got my respect. That was a phenomenal showing. And then the celebration afterwards, it was ridiculous. It was legendary. But that was a long time ago. In the world of mixed martial arts, that was in 2023. We're now in 2026. And when you look at the record, he has lost 4 out of his last 5 fights. And just recently, Israel Adesanya has been talking about seeing the finish line, seeing the end of his career.
I've been seeing the finish line in the distance, but now it's closer. But who knows at what pace will I get there?
Of course, the man is 36 years old, still relatively in his prime, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't see past 2027.
But when you look at the record, it's actually 4 out of his last 5, pardon me, that he's lost. That's not a good sign. But when you look at the losses, it's to Alex Pereira, and then he beat Alex Pereira. Then he lost to Sean Strickland, Dricus du Plessis, and Nassourdine Imavov, right? Now, he's got a fight in Seattle coming up soon against Joe Pyfer. That's a dangerous fight against a big guy that can grapple, that has knockout power. And if he loses that one, that'll be 5 out of his last 6, right? Which maybe seeing the finish line in the future, maybe that speeds up a bit. Maybe that will be the last time that Israel Adesanya fights. But let's just talk about those losses. Of course, to Alex Pereira, no big deal. Comes back, knocks him out. Pereira goes up to the light heavyweight division. He might even now be going up to the heavyweight division. We don't know. But he lost the belt to Sean Strickland, right? And in that fight against Strickland, was he focused? Did he overlook Sean Strickland? Well, if he did, and he might have done, he had a lot of distractions. He had a DUI case around that time, so a lot of stuff going on, right? But that's his fault. If he underestimated Sean Strickland, do that at your peril, and he lost his belt. Then he goes up against Dricus du Plessis and gets choked out in Perth, Australia, and in the 4th round, gets finished with a neck crank. And then last time out in Saudi Arabia in February 2025, about a year ago, he gets knocked out in the 2nd round by Nassourdine Imavov. Now, Imavov is the number 1 ranked guy. He should get a shot at Khamzat Chimaev next, so certainly no shame. But when you compare it to the form that Israel Adesanya had previously to these, right, it does start to tell a story. There is a narrative that maybe the best days are behind him. And maybe this fight with Joe Pyfer, if it doesn't go his way, maybe that could be his last one. So here's what Izzy himself had to say. He said, in terms of how many fights he sees himself having, he says, it can't be more than 10. So if I fight now and I fight once more towards the end of the year, that's 2 fights. If I do 2 fights a year, next year I can still fight. 2028 is going to be like, I don't know yet. I can't see past 2027. I don't know. I don't think that far ahead in the moment. I do glance at it. I know I'm at the tail end. I can see the finish line, and I've been seeing the finish line in the distance, but now now it's much closer. Now, regarding his post-fight career, Izzy's already got it mapped out. He said there's more to life than fighting, and he's absolutely right. When you're a fighter, just like when I was, so all these guys and all these girls, you're in it, man, and you're obsessed, and that is it. You got blinkers on, blinders on even, right? You don't see anything else. But of course, there is a life after fighting. There is other things that you can do. And if you have the kind of drive, the talent, the sacrifice, and just the character to work your ass off, you can do whatever you want in this life. And Israel Adesanya, as I said, he's got it mapped out. I could just be a DJ. That was 4 months of work, and I killed that shit. If I do this every day like I do camps, I don't just DJ, I perform, I put on a show. It's not the same. We've also got Hollywood knocking on the door, but I'd rather go to EA, Activision, and all these video game companies and do games, right? So we certainly got grand ideas, and rightly so, because when you become a fighter, or in fact, when you go on any endeavor in life, if you are brave enough to speak it into existence and you have grandiose ideas that people look around, they will shit all over it because they're jealous that they don't have the same vision. So if you're going to do something, do it 100%. Look at the final goal of where that could take you and make that your target. And it's only these people that don't have the confidence, that don't believe in themselves, right? That have problems with their own mentalities, that are the type of people to talk shit, right? Do whatever you want in this life and don't let anyone tell you that you can't do it. And Israel Adesanya, man's going to be a superstar DJ, right? Just like I wanted to be before I started fighting in mixed martial arts.
Whoa. A superstar DJ.
I still mess around on the decks a little bit. I might do a little DJ Mikey B mix after I've done this. This is my third video of the day after all. So anyway, so that's what Izzy says he wants to do. Now let's talk about the fight that he's got coming up, because it's against Joe Pyfer. And Joe Pyfer is not a man to trifle with. Joe Pyfer is a big guy. He's in his prime. He's 29 years old. He's 6'1", and he's one of the hardest hitting guys in the middleweight division. He's got a record of 15 wins with 3 losses. In those 15 wins, 9 knockouts, 4 submissions. That's 13 stoppages out of 15. He's only had 1 loss in the UFC, and that was to Jack Hermanson, where he got tired, where he was trying to knock out Jack with every single shot. And obviously, over 5 rounds, the man got tired. But he's learned from that, and he has evolved. And it's only when you lose a fight like that that you recognize that you've got to change things. You've got to pace yourself. And certainly when it's a 5-round affair. Since then, he's come back. He's knocked out Marc-Andre Barriault. Great win. He beat Kelvin Gastelum via decision. Not an easy thing to do. And he also stopped Abus Magomedov via face crank in the 2nd round, just like Dricus du Plessis stopped Israel Adesanya with. So this is the main event in Seattle, right? And the fans in Seattle, by the way, I won't be at this one, but last year it was phenomenal. What an event that was. The fans were absolutely brilliant, and I really enjoyed the city. Israel Adesanya is a huge star. The fans are going to go absolutely crazy when he walks out there, but they are Americans, and this is happening in Seattle, and Joe Pyfer's going to be the favourite, and he's going to be the hometown guy, and they're going to love Joe Pyfer because he's all out action. He's got a chip on his shoulder. He talks a lot of shit, and he's going to bring it to Israel Adesanya. And he got cracked by Nasruddin Imavov, and he might just get cracked off Joe Pyfer. Anyway, I'm rattling on. What do we think about Israel Adesanya? As I said, he's the 2nd best middleweight champion that this sport has had. Of course, number 1 goes to the great, the legend, the GOAT, Anderson the Spider Silva. After that, just by records alone. And yeah, we ain't talking DJ records. Records in terms of title fights and wins. Israel Adesanya is clearly the next man. He's had a legendary career. I wish him all the best against Joe Pyfer, right? But may the best man win. What do you think about everything that I've had to say there about Israel Adesanya? What do you think about this fight with Joe Pyfer? Who do you think wins this one? Do me a favour. Thanks for watching the video. Subscribe, ring the bell, all that good stuff. Take a breath. I'm going to go have a little play on the decks. Israel Adesanya, eat your heart out. Take it easy. From me, DJ Mikey B. See you soon.